welcome to the Quantum Leap Your Business Masterclass series, where we discover the pivotal shifts and strategies that propelled successful 6 and 7-figure female entrepreneurs to their most profitable years. We go behind the scenes to hear the strategies, as well as the mindset, energetics, and everything else that are part of the journey to help you break through to that next level success with your business. I'm your host, Clodagh, and I'm so excited to welcome Himani Jain, Sales Queen, who helps heart-centered coaches and healers make quantum leaps in their reach, income, and impact the fastest, stress-free way while freeing up their life off social media. Her zone of genius is to empower coaches who have a powerful message to share with the world to unclog their sales closing pipelines using smart automated sales systems that nurture passively, create VIP experience for their clients, and get buyback up to 80% of their time. This sounds so hot. So welcome, Himani.
Thank you so much for this awesome intro. My goodness, I was like almost like this. And I'm like, she said it all. Thank you. So excited to be here, Clodagh.
Awesome intro. It's such a hot topic. But I want to start by just asking you, I mean, a few years ago, you never would have imagined that you would end up here. So take us through a little bit of your journey to what you're doing today.
A few years ago, I think going back just 6, 7 years ago, if that counts as a few years ago, even I would say a little, maybe 3-4 years ago, I lost my whole entire business. My background is I'm trained as an interior designer, which is what I did for like 15 years of my life. And everything offline, I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about online. I knew nothing about sales. And in all honesty, I actually lost my entire business because I knew none of that. It was like I was pulled from one thing, one space, one part of my life to another one to turn me into this new person. And when I look back, I don't even recognize that person anymore. And I have no idea. It was not a vision. It was not at that time, back in the day, I didn't know that any of this existed. So how could I even imagine it?
How amazing. So just tell us a bit about that. Interior design, entirely offline, I presume, when you said you knew nothing about it.
So it's very, so the whole thing was about, I kind of, I always thought that interior design is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life until my brain is functioning and my limbs are functioning. Because I knew nothing else. I wasn't trained for anything else. Nothing else was an option. So when my business started slipping away and I started losing clients, I tried everything in my power that I understood in the online world to try and survive and to stay afloat. And which meant hiring all kinds of different people, SEO guys. Somebody said, go and write blogs. I didn't know any of that. So all I could do was to hire some agencies, some digital guys. And then I just slowly got into, so one thing led to the other. I even went and I signed up for a program to learn how to do Facebook ads, because they said that once you do that, you'll get clients signing up. And I did like so much. I burnt myself out. I spent so much money, wasted it all out. It does not work for that. So one thing led to the other. And when I stepped into this world, I would say through the back door, without realizing what I was doing, not knowing where I was going, I was thrown into the world of Russell Brunson. And someone said, go and do his one funnel away challenge. And I'm like, okay. And they didn't tell me what to expect out of it, but they said it'll help you save your business. Within, I think, less than 2 weeks, I was like, oh, I think there is something much bigger here. I don't think I came here to fix my interior design business and learn how to make a funnel and get that business to survive and do things to make that happen. I think I'm done with that. And that piece has to go away and something else has to happen. And I had no idea what. I had no friends in the industry. I knew of no coaches. I didn't know what I was doing. I was not trained to teach anyone anything. I had never spoken in my life. I had never spoken on camera. I was the shyest, if there is a word called that, the biggest introverted human being who could never even speak in their close circle of friends. That's the personality I had. And today you see I'm doing summits after summits, speaking, doing coaching workshops, teaching people sales, built out my whole systems and whatnot, and working with 6, 7, 8 figure coaches. It's a different world. And how many years has it been? Just a handful.
Incredible. So it just sounds like, you know, you're really saying that it's so important. Business always changes, times change. We'll go a bit more into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you really need to be open to feeling what you're called to, what you think is going to make the impact. It's about being open and being able to pivot.
It's very important to be able to pivot, because if I didn't do that back then, I don't know how much longer I would have had to suffer. I went through a huge traumatic experience, even at the personal level. It was almost like, when you start understanding the whole higher power and all of that, and the understanding about the spiritual growth and the evolution and a whole lot of things from that perspective for our viewers who understand that and resonate with that, you realize that you are being picked up, and for some reason you are supposed to serve a larger number of people in a different way. And you obviously, at that point back in the day, you do not have the necessary skill set. So you
Absolutely.
got to be trained, you got to become someone else. When they say a new version of, or the next best version of yourself, I don't think so. I think you become a new person, like everything changes. And I'm blessed because one thing after the other, new doors would open up. But the doors would open up. The message here is the new doors only open up for you. They line up for you when you take that first step ahead. You go and open that first door without knowing what's on the other side, and you don't have to be scared. And then you walk, and then one door opens. You walk more, another door opens. You walk more, another door opens. I mean, what are the odds? I have worked with two Karma Club Award winners when I come from this background who of someone who knew nothing. What
Mm.
are the odds that you get to work with the best of the best and their coaches? I think at least five, six very, very influential people I've learned from the best of the best. And that's what shows in my work today.
Incredible. I can't wait to discuss a bit more of that. But I just want to
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for sharing that as well, because it's one of the reasons why I wanted to go into the stories behind it, you know, people's journeys. When you get to know people's journeys, it's so interesting how things develop. And we're talking about times changing as well. You had to make that shift from offline to online. Marketing's changing all the time. We can't sit still as entrepreneurs. Sales are changing. Talk to us and our viewers a bit about that.
Everything has changed. So just about, I would say back in 2020, 21, when I was already into sales now,
Hmm.
we used to do things manually. So we were doing the same strategies. So
Hmm.
we were, so it's for me, my business, my sales, everything was about eye touch, high nurturing, building a connection, building a rapport,
Yeah.
warming up people that way, adding value to their lives, and making sure that your eyes were on their business, and they felt understood. They felt that you knew what you were talking about. And obviously, once you established that two-way rapport, there was no way they were going anywhere. They had to, I mean, working together with you was the next logical,
Hmm.
obvious yes brainer
Yeah.
step. So you do that something that gets them to say yes without doing anything else. But that whole process of doing that something was so manual back in the day. It
Hmm.
was so tiresome. It involved living on Facebook. I used to be on Facebook because the only way to nurture people, pretty much like one on one, there is no other platform where you can go, where you can have a two-way conversation and communication outside of Facebook DMs. I mean, I'm not talking about the Zoom calls. They come much later. But I'm
Hmm.
saying, when you're trying to get to know someone, they're saying yes for something, they're showing up for something, maybe they have some questions about, maybe you're doing an event, maybe you're doing a launch, they may need help, they may want someone to be around, they want to know what's going on, all of those things. You add value to their stuff. Maybe you're dropping some posts, you're dropping some homework, you want to support them, you want to leave some voice messages. That's how you build a connection. So all of that can only and only be done inside of a personalized chat, not a chat bot, not a like a whatever,
Yeah.
not emails, not LinkedIn, not TikTok, not Instagram, and all of that. That's the only platform. So
Mm.
you had to get very good with the Facebook algorithm, which everybody loves and hates. There's a love and hate relationship there.
Mm.
So our accounts would get restricted. There were limits. You had to invite people,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And it was so manual. I would be working for 15, 16 hours a day for days.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
because if you wanted to stay on top of each and every person, there was no other way to do it effectively unless you let them be, and just and you left people out there, okay, and say that, oh, I can only work with so many people at a time. They would give me like 500 people in one event because I was very good at it, and it was not an easy job. So that's how I started realizing the value of technology. And now with AI is not something that you need to be scared of, actually. And AI is not just putting in some words and prompts and getting an output. AI actually has been around. I want to really stress on this point. A lot of people don't understand this. AI has been around for years now. Like as an example, when our smartphones came out, the first one, when Android came out, and it could sense a lot of things by way of temperature, your behavior, what you did, what you clicked on. It could show you options based off that. That's also AI. So when
Absolutely.
when a good piece of technology is sent your way, it need not always be prompts, and generate content my way, but it can also do things in the background without you having to even know what it is doing and why it's doing. So imagine all the best sales strategies being dumped in inside the technology, and you are forced to press play, and there is a step-by-step process, and you can only go one way, and all you have to do is understand what you need to feed in, and it takes you there exactly where you need to go. So you don't have to go through, I mean, I can't put it more simpler than that, but it's like you don't have to go and work with a sales coach anymore, and go and spend 30 $40,000, because that's where the sales coaching programs start. I'm not talking about business programs. I'm talking about sales programs. They're two different things. They're two different worlds. And imagine you get access to all of this inbuilt inside a simple, stupidly simple piece of technology. Why would you not do it? It's faster. It's always there. You don't have to train it. It always shows up. It's your best buddy. You can, at the click of a button, start it, stop it. It's something like that. So there is nothing to be scared of. So then we had to build this technology over the last couple of years. It's taken a lot because I saw a big gap between what we needed to nurture people and where we were and what was available. And yeah, and I think we've reached I mean, I haven't developed it. I helped a guy, a developer. He's become a very good friend of mine. So I helped him uh, create features inside technology that speak to sales. As I said, I want these are my different pieces. This is what it needs to do. I kept helping them test and all of that. It took us a couple of years. It's come out and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. We've been using it. I've got a community of people. So sales has become very interesting now.
Mm.
And the other change that I see from the last couple of years until now is sales used to be more like sales. Sales used to be sales, whatever people think of sales as, whatever you're taught of sales as. But sales, you in today's world, if you're really meaning business and you have something of real good value to offer to the world, and you're passionate about what you do, sales is basically serving more people, watching their transformation. And when you operate from a space of serving,
Service.
you have to build high touch, you have to build that rapport, you have to do all of those things, and you need technology. That's all that there is. So adoption, being open to this, to the new change, and rather than going and living and giving away your life to Facebook, as I always call it, and learning how to churn out more pieces of content. And I'm like, why are you doing it? You don't even need to do it anymore. Of course, do it. Whatever you want to share, whatever that's fine. But for the purpose of trying to beat the beast called social media algorithm, you're not going to be able to beat it. It's already, its hands are way up above there. You're not going to be able to beat it. So the only way is to get rid of your dependence on it and run your businesses off it, so that you can really live the life that you
I
really
love that
want.
whole perspective shift. It's like nothing to be afraid of. It's been around for ages, and it's just a case of streamlining it as part of what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really sprung to mind that I've just loved you sharing today with everyone who's listening is that point about just coming from a place of service. So it's more then about letting people know what you can do for them.
100%. In fact, I always share this in my workshops, where I say that there are four things that you got to establish beautifully with your new people, or everybody in your audience, in your tribe. And one is about, it's about, they need to know who you are, what's your story, what you stand for. Very important. People just miss out on that piece, because people talk to people now. It's not business to business anymore. The second piece is they got to understand, they need to see you. You've got to show up. So they need, in your any of your value trainings, they need to see that you are an expert in what you do, and feel it firsthand when they're talking to you. Like when I'm talking to you guys, some of you will resonate with me, some of you will not. So the ones who will resonate with me, you're mine, right? Then you know that, okay, I like this person, I want to know more, I'm arousing your curiosity, which is great, and then I'm moving you to the next level. And the ones who do not, which is absolutely fine, they will fall off the grid, they will disqualify themselves and save both of us time, space, and energy and resources to go ahead and serve you, invest our time, follow with you, and you do all those kind of things. So it's actually beautiful. It's very important to show up as an expert. It's very third is very important to add value, a
Yeah.
lot of value, personalized value. I
Mm.
use a lot of voice messages like crazy. And the last one is they need to know that you are the one who is able to bring the results that they are after. And you can do it in the fast, easy way. And they need to know what your process looks like. How are you bringing that
Mhm.
result? The minute you give out this clarity to the new people, I have mapped out a system that you can do it in the first 7 days of them saying yes to joining your work.
So those
And
four
after
steps,
that,
let's recap again because I love that. 4 steps, 4 things that you need.
yeah, the minute you have those four pieces of content, maybe supported by a few more, like maybe you have a couple to each section. And
Yes.
if I can automate sending those resources to their inbox, which I can today, put my people onto a journey, like an experiential journey, and make them feel so good, like they hit on that one button and they can watch something. It's like available to them, like food to eat on the table, ready to serve. Not like, oh, go tag them somewhere in a Facebook group, and then the
Yeah.
notification just disappears. That doesn't work. It doesn't even work. So why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Something like that. So this is something else, and it's hands-free. This whole piece which I described is 100% hands-free.
Mm.
Now, if the person doesn't respond back with those pieces of content in the first 7 days, trust me, they will never buy anything from you.
Interesting. Interesting.
They will
That
never buy
sparks. I've
anything.
got another question for you about behaviors, but just before I ask, can you share one thing that you did or something that you did to have your own quantum leap with this business? The specifics.
I did not stop. I mean, I know it's not specific. I did not stop. I kept falling and I kept getting back
Right.
up.
Okay.
That's what I did. I never stopped. You can slap me, you can do anything to me. I mean, I'm just saying, literally, I've had so many setbacks. I've had coaches there's one coach, I helped her make such quantum leaps, but I was a nobody back then. So the whole credit was given to another coach with whom they were struggling for the last over a year, because that was a fancy name. And it was very difficult because I needed that testimonial to keep going, and I did not get it.
Right.
So there are things like that also that happen in the industry. There are a lot of things that happen, but then you don't stop. You just
Mm.
don't stop. All I'm saying is just find, I mean, okay, first thing, you stop going after 20 things. You find out, you map out what are the distractions in your path. Your path may not be the best path today, but you decide next 30 days. This is how I work. The
Mhm.
next 30 days, this is the piece that I'm going to follow, or this is the person I'm
Yeah.
going to follow, or this is the approach that I'm going to follow. If you're signed up for a program, this is the program that I'm going to follow. And you take away everything else off your plate. Keep it somewhere. If it bothers you, am I going to, if you have the FOMO, there's so many ways you can save it. You can make playlists. You can put it anywhere in a place where you can always get back to it later. But don't watch it. Don't spend time on it. Don't let your mind consume extra stuff. Go all in, because when you do it, what comes out on the other side, you have so much more clarity for the next step. There's
Great
so
point.
much more clarity. Try to connect with more people. Try to have conversations, not arbit, not random. Have have people move to the next step on their journey. If you can't take them all the way, have them move one step. I was doing this workshop the other day. It's very nice because I actually recently did a workshop on lead generation. I'll talk to you about it at some point. But then I followed it up with a personalized workshop where people signed up and they showed up. And the idea was to help them find leads, which are not even a problem according to me. You can just click on a button and they just show up. That's how it's become for us now. But then I said, okay, let's take it to the next level. Let's see, how do you make your first connect with your new people? Assuming you have got these new 700 people sitting in your new bucket, and you want to start your conversation, you want to send out your first message, all automated, but you got to write some message so that the technology can blast it off. So what would you say to them to start a beautiful conversation, to still establish even if they don't know anything about you, you're not trying to sell them anything, obviously, which you don't do at any point in the whole process, but you want to establish the same things. How do you establish yourself as an expert? How do you add some value by saying that this is what you have on offer? Would you be keen on, joining us for this, having a nice call to action, etc.? Just a simple DM. It's not an email, it's not a post, just a simple
Mm.
DM.
But it
Everybody
hits
can
this
come up with a
point.
nice. And I made these people, there were some amazing coaches in the house that day in my Zoom room. And I made them write their first message. um, we were sharing a Google document. Everybody was made to write their first message according to them. What is it that they would send out with a goal in mind? I gave them a goal and I said, now write your first message, which is goal based, not something random. I almost threw off my chair that day. Like, it was a revelation of sorts. And I'm like, the reason people are struggling today is for two reasons. It's not just because they're not able to find the right people who are actively looking out for them,
Right.
but also because they don't know what to do with those people after that. Because if you keep just saying, hey, hello, how are you doing? And just keep being in their good books, you're not qualifying them. You're not moving them up the ladder. You're not helping them in any way. You're not adding any value. You're not saying that you're an expert in something. So there's a whole framework to this. And I
Yeah.
helped them write, each one of them, their own message. And they were like, holy shit, this is a game changer.
It sounds, if I'm correct in saying, it sounds like, your success, the way that you work, made things work, freeing up so much of your time is having a process and creating a process that can be,
Without that, I don't know how would my brain function.
yes,
I
exactly.
mean, otherwise everything is just scattered all around. I mean, even now I'm able to handle a lot. So there are still things that I'm unable to streamline, but that's because I'm working with a lot of people. But the point is that if your system, your whole process, whatever it is, that's why you have OBMs, right? For business, business side of things. For sales, people don't even understand. For sales, there's a sales process. You need to systematize it. You need to
Brilliant.
streamline the process, and you need to remove the noise from that process. So I see people throwing out a bunch of offers every now and then just because they think that, okay, one more offer, then new people will come in. That's their way of growing their audience. There's nothing wrong with it. But then those offers, are they speaking to your main core signature offer or not? If not, then that entire activity from A to Z, from the time when you had it in your mind to the time you built it out, did 20 things to it and rolled out and did the marketing, then served it and delivered it, nurtured your people. I think it's a waste of time. You shouldn't do it. You should double down on things only: offers, lead magnets, freebies, paid workshops, whatever your system is. You should only double down, triple down on things that only and only and only speak to your
Because
core
it's
offer.
taking them on a journey. So it's
It's just
light bulb
taking them on a
moment.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you open 20 doors, it's all scattered. It's like sitting in an airport lounge. You don't know what's going on. Like, even in the lounge, you know that you come in from this gate, you know that you're going that way. There is a system. If you don't have that system, you're going to completely get overwhelmed. And that's what people complain today, isn't it? That's
Brilliant.
the biggest problem people go through.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. You've made it
Thank
seem
you.
so clear, that whole, just such a key piece, because if you don't have that, if you don't have your sales, you don't have a business. So, but I'd love it if you could. I know that you got a amazing offer, little gift for people, which is obviously to do with all of this. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I have a basket of offers because I like to help people who are at different stages in their journey.
Mm,
So they are sales oriented, they're different ones. There's a sales quiz, which I really like people to take. But for now, let's start with giving them the first piece, which is lead generation. And this is not the typical lead generation. Oh, I'm hiring these VAs. I have this lead generation expert. You don't need any of that anymore. It's a simple tools, as I explained. And what it does is it helps you find warm people who are also looking out for you, so that you're nurturing them with an intent. There is a whole reason why you're after them, and they'll be the first ones to say yes and qualify themselves so that you can move them up. So I'm going to share a resource. I recently did a masterclass showing exactly how to do it using a very simple, easy to use tool. I do a little bit of a demo also in there. So watch that. And we also do these workshops, live workshops together with me. We talk about it inside the masterclass. So if you feel called, come sign up and come together. It's a lot of, it's very helpful. It's a game changer actually. So I'm going to leave that resource with you, Clodagh.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's such a generous, and that's the first step. I just want to say that I know that you mentioned you've got quite a few different offers to do with sales, which is obviously what we've been discussing today, which is, incredible. But I really appreciate you sharing what can be the first step. It's like, because you only need the sales process when you've actually got people interested and when you've introduced people to your world. So I think that's an absolutely fantastic gift to offer our audience today. Thank you so much. And obviously they can check anything else out on your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Thank
There's
you.
a big goodie bag for everyone all the time.
Amazing. Well, you've been super generous and I've absolutely loved what we've gone through today about processes and freeing up your time and just really moving with the times. And actually, it's making things easier. So I love it. Is there any last tip you'd like to give our audience just before we go?
That's a good one. I would like to, this is outside of the business and the sales thing and all of that. This is very important. I think this is how I operate. So there are times I'm pulled down and, I'm thinking, I'm wondering whether the only thing I do is I look inside and I ask myself, am I happy doing what I'm doing? Whatever, it could be a whole thing, it could be a tiny little
Mm,
piece in my business, it could be anything about anything.
mm,
And if I have doubts, if I'm not sure, if something is not working out, the only question I ask myself is, am I happy doing this? Everything lies there. Because if you operate from a space of being happy and joyful, what you come up with and what you share with the people you want to serve, it manifests and magnifies 100 folds at least.
yeah,
So
it's
so
so
make
much more
sure
powerful.
that you're open to doing things that are only bringing in joy, no matter who has told you to do them otherwise, no matter how much money you've invested. Don't get caught up in all that stuff. Just know that you try something, it may work, it may not work. If it's working, you will be happy. So just always
Exactly.
focus on that happiness quotient.
Amazing. That's the strategy you followed, and look how it's worked for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hermione. It's been so intriguing talking to you. And for anyone that's tuning in, don't forget to tune back in for the rest of our Quantum Leap Your Business Masterclass series. And don't forget to download that free gift. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Really
so much.
appreciate this.